in here in Southwest Orem, we've got 34, we've got this M1 zoning that's been put in place, but a lot of this is already still in the OS5 zoning designation. But in here, you have all of these different, that same section, it's all OS5 is in these different categories in our general plans land use map. So you have low density residential, you have low density residential Southwest. Do you guys remember that from when it came up with the Whitestone rezone? Low density residential Southwest is this odd subcategory that I think the text never made it to the map, but not with text. So that's an interesting one. So just think of it as low density residential. And then light industrial, this has actually been rezoned right here. Medium density residential. And then this one segment where our application tonight is of community commercial, and then skip done, rezone. And this is the Holiday Oil, right? So here's Whitestone to put it in context a little bit, and the Autism Academy. Going back to the zoning, again, you have these different sections that are zoned. Whitestone has been rezoned to R8 as well, but and that's that M1 that we were looking at. But again, all of this area up in here is still in the OS5. Okay, so to kind of look at the transportation stuff that's happening there, and that you will see tonight with the Johnson Farm rezone. Geneva Road has long been kind of the north-south way around in this area, but the plan is for this Lakeview Parkway to be built, and that would extend south into Provo and go directly to the airport. Is that
with I-15 at the East Bay?
I-15 and the airport. So that becomes kind of the main thoroughfare back and forth on the west side for the airport and the I-15 corridor. Geneva Road, some pressure would come off Geneva Road that way. As a part of that, zoom in a little, I can't really zoom in on that, but that's all right. As a part of that, Geneva Road, we make this cutoff right there, and it extends then to that Lakeview Parkway. And then oddly, it goes back up to Geneva Road as well. But that triangle that's formed right there, next slide, that triangle that gets formed is where the Johnson Farm rezone is happening. That's that segment that you see on your applications tonight. Does that make sense? Kind of to put it in context. So that's why that happens there. That makes that triangle. And that's the portion within this larger OS5 that they're asking to rezone. So we wanted to make sure you kind of had an opportunity to look at all of these different transportation projects that are happening in this area or are slated for this area. Most of them are, would it be fair to say most of them are UDOT driven, or is, I mean, I guess a couple of them are ours and Provo's, but it's not UDOT.
Well, go back to it's color coded by ownership.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
UDOT. What was us? Red's Provo one.
Perfect.
So it's a mix.
Yeah. So the stuff going around, the stuff happening around project tonight on tonight's active agenda is mostly UDOT, but it's connected to what we're doing as well. But UDOT has been partners with us in this Lakeview Parkway, right?
Green meets the blue.
Yeah.
If you looked at the county parcel map, you'll see that UDOT already owns that part and has right. We have the blue, most of the blue right away, not all of it.
Yeah.
And then the triangle parcel question tonight, there's no access off of Geneva or Lakeview.
It all comes off the new.
That gold wing type area doesn't have any, everything comes off of the old Geneva.
Okay. So everything on the project tonight would come off of old Geneva, not the new extensions.
And that little tiny road is going to stay a little tiny road through that segment.
Yeah, the old Geneva stuff.
Yeah, just right there.
It's connector right here. Geneva would stay. Is that getting?
Might do it right out or something.
They'll be like cut off. Don't connect on this one side. It'll probably connect to one side and cut off on the other.
This segment anymore? The old segment of Geneva?
I think they'll T into it.
I would imagine. Yeah.
So you would actually, if you want to stay on Geneva, you will have to make that change. You will have to come down this way and then back up.
Yes.
That wasn't clear to me whether that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Eventually, that'll be the case.
At best, the local road that will be probably cul-de-sac or teed off on one side and just local access on the south side.
And you're, just for clarification, you're saying the project that's coming before us tonight has no access to either of the Lakeview Parkway or the.
Let me zip ahead in the slides and show you.
Okay.
We're going to zip ahead.
It's just a little additional history. So before Lakeview Parkway was conceived, there was always discussions about how do we expand Geneva Road for future traffic needs, and it was always constrained. You know, it's just how many homes we have to take, how much property we have to take. So when Lakeview Parkway was finally constructed about 2012, then the dialogue changed that, oh, now we don't have, UDOT sort of shift course at that point, said, we're going to shift our focus from trying to expand Geneva Road, the entire corridor, and put all our energy into building and completing Lakeshore Parkway. And so anything south of that new intersection, probably going to stay pretty much the same for the foreseeable future.
In terms of right of way anyway.
Yeah.
So let me get back to
So there's a traffic light planned where it breaks off.
So this portion right here is the new Lakeview. That makes the connection to Lake Shore. I keep saying Lakeview. Is it Lake Shore?
Lakeview.
Lakeview Parkway.
Lakeview. And this is Geneva here. Old Geneva.
And Lakeview Parkway runs from I-15 at south end of Provo to the airport, and then northwards, and then dead ends at the Provo High School area. And then it will, you know, as these segments are constructed, Provo will finish their part, or finish their part, and Geneva's working on their part right now, right?
And that's pretty long range, right? It's not that's not all happening immediately.
Provo's actively building their section. We are trying to get land acquired and UDOT flags us. UDOT stopped at the temple and is gonna do this phase 2 at some point, so it's probably Provo first, us, UDOT. In timeline.
So Provo's is happening sooner than later, and our segment here will take a
That
while.
one's pretty well done, isn't it? The,
It's just not wide enough. They only have like a 2-lane road, so they're building it out widthwise.
It
But
comes up to here currently,
okay.
section's under construction.
It is.
You're good.
How many acres is that little triangle?
It is
3 or 4.
or something, 4.46, 4.43, just over 4. Thank you. So yeah, there you go. Looking at that segment, I hope that kind of helps. I know for us, one thing I wanted to show you here, because this was a question that Madeline and I were talking about. That segment that you see makes this triangle right here, right? And there's a little stub that goes out to the sort of northwest. That would eventually, the hope is that will connect and go west. These are future roads. This is all unincorporated county right now. But in the master transportation plans, this is part of our master transportation plan. We would assume that these roads might happen. They would be developer driven. So as development comes, we would anticipate these would be the major roads we would want to see into play. But all of that would happen, you know, at some future date. So in the
How far south does Vineyard come?
oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Vineyard.
So far.
Yeah. I have a map that shows that.
Orem.
This vineyard coming around us.
Well,
This is
Hardly.
vineyard up in
Not
here.
very far away, is it?
This is
that's us.
That's us.
Us.
Link to the county website on there if you need it.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, we just do this.
So if the intention is to go into that county land, should that as an annexation be part of is it our general plan?
This should be part of, if you're asking, should it be part of our annexation plan,
Yes, our annexation plan, but like
our declaration
our
of
declaration of
Which area?
the part to the west
it's all,
area.
this is in our declared annexation area.
Yeah, that's why we planned this road network. So that as things were annexed, the developer pools would come in, we had policy that would guide the major street grid.
That was the intention with the street grid for development, for housing, for
It's for connectivity at this point.
connectivity.
Yeah, it doesn't. The land use itself that goes in between those streets,
We have to figure it out, but yeah.
we figure it out. But this would be, as you look at the coloring, these are
Local street.
minor arterial roads usually. These are not your neighborhood roads. your neighborhood roads or your even business roads for industrial would go inside of those super blocks. So these are sort of this is the grid framework. And then development will largely happen within that grid framework.
I also noticed on the slide that it says open space easement.
Yes, that is a conservation easement that the property owner imposed on themselves.
Okay.
Gives them some tax benefits and unless there are some ways that they could end their easement, but the goal is for that to be in conservation space perpetually.
And would that transfer with city annexation?
That all depends on. He probably, as long as he owns it, I don't think he would ever propose to be annexed.
Mhm.
Usually when there's a conservation easement, there is a conservator agency like. Oh, I can't remember.
One of the state agencies or something.
Yeah, sometimes they're nonprofits, like, conservation agency. I forget the name of it. But certainly it's still in our policy to annex it if that property ever does petition the station. So we plan this road network in the event that some reason the conservation easement ends. Or we potentially annex it anyways because we have some type of need, like, to put a utility line in, or I don't know.
Just trying to understand that. Thank you.
This is that open space easement we talked about with Whitestone, Cherry Hill Farm, whatever it's called.
I think they're the same property.
They own both.
Same owner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's to be differentiated from, there's some properties in the north that have greenbelt status. That's not conservation easement. It's more of a tax status county.
Okay, other things we should talk about, let's see. Let's see, Becky, you wanted to look at,
Oh, well, I was just saying that there's the county parcel maps if you needed to pull up all the parcels and see how they're deeded out already.
yeah, so these are all links, and I can send this page to you all just by email after if you ever want to just go to these and take a look at them. Transportation plan, all of that as well. So, but yeah, Vineyard is further north.
Map,
That top, oh, sorry.
sorry, the map that's shows all the orange, that's the last page of the next one. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's in the master plan. It's the very last page.
but the transportation.
Document. So you want to get to that in one of these, it's just the last page on there.
Page 170, don't print pages 1 through 170.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop.
Exactly. Okay, so that's the transportation aspect of this. I hope that kind of helps put in context the Johnson Farms rezone this little section tonight is about. And helps kind of understand that. But any questions, other questions at this point about the transportation part of it? Please.
So you call it the old Geneva Road, go straight,
Yeah, it's same in here.
and that's going to be retained as a what? It's
It will stay as I'm understanding it. It looks for all the world like it just continues to go through, but it won't, I guess. So eventually it'll still be there, but it won't be accessible from both sides. And so you won't be able to take it through anymore. So if you're going southbound and you want to stay on Geneva Road,
yeah.
you will turn down here. You'll be on this connection to Lakeview Drive or Lakeview Parkway. And then if you want to stay on Geneva, you'll make a left and come back up onto Geneva Road.
And what would be the reason why that you couldn't go straight? I mean, is it
All those homes on that street need access still.
okay? But I wondered.
So it'll still be there, won't be vacated and gone, but it
Function
won't
more
go
like a
through.
local road.
Yeah, I see why it's not gonna be connected still.
Yes. Yep. I mean, it's the road will still be.
They don't want the through traffic. They want all the traffic
You go down this
to
way.
funnel to this intersection. And so they will likely cut this off, dead end it.
Cut it right off.
There'll probably be a local access to the remainder of the road from down in this area, away from the intersection. Because the closer you have intersections to the main intersection creates additional turning point conflicts and other issues, right, John? He's the expert on just, But So likely they'll cut this off. This has more freedom as far as reduced turning lane conflicts. If you want to get into this to service these homes, come down here, jump back onto the old Geneva to access these properties.
I was at the UDOT application for access meeting. And UDOT is control of where they get access to the old Geneva Road. And so their access management standards are stricter than ours. And so they have to get a UDOT permit to get access to Geneva, old Geneva. So they go through that process. It may or may not bring that up, but they do have to get UDOT's permission to go to old Geneva. And there is an unknown future of what Geneva will look like, whether it's the old stub or all the way down to Provo. There's debate on land ownership changes, but no one's there yet.
That's interesting.
Most of it's Provo's.
You,
Ownership changes everything.
you agree with the thinking of UDOT, what they're doing or not?
I agree.
They,
Well,
it's not your place to do that necessarily, but are they,
depends what you're talking about.
okay,
If you're talking about, they're aligning Lakeview with us and Provo.
huh?
Other than that, they're giving access to this parcel, which was fine. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, where their access locations are, 2 or 3. And then after that, south on Geneva to Provo, they're just negotiating. There's no curb and gutter and sidewalk, and so Provo mainly and UDOT are kind of gone back and forth about what that looks like in the future. And there's not any decisions. Yeah.
These are still quite a ways out, these roads and these road changes.
Yeah.
I think you noticed if you notice in Becca's staff report, it talks about each project and it'll say there's no start date pinpointed for this particular project yet, et cetera. They're a ways out.
I mean, we've seen like $14 million through MAG to do our portion of Lakeview. Well, it's been 10 years since we started the process and the money's here now. We're just working through property ownership and drainage and easements. So we're further along. Like I said, then UDOT kind of put it on pause and has to get the money to do their northern section. And everything in orange, don't panic. We're not going to go start building roads. It's property owners, as you know, show up. We want to build this. And all right, fine, then you got to build that half a road, or you know how it works. So if someone wants to go way west, they got to build a road out to themselves, right? And we're not building it. So it's just a plan, like Matt said, about if they want to build, that's where we would like the roads to be, spacing and stuff.
So did you have another question? I didn't mean to cut you off, so.
Okay. Great. Well, and we get the benefit of the charming, we get to start referring to it as Old Geneva Road, which sounds, it's got some panache. So there you go. That's what I see here, the important thing. Let's talk about the land use classifications. And a lot of this, like we said, has some rezones have happened in this area more recently, but some of this area, and again, all of this unincorporated county. We don't actually even have general plan designations for any of the unincorporated county that's in our annexation plan. Not that show up in our
There's
mapping
some
anyway,
language in the general plan, I believe.
to bring it in as a certain RR, ultimate is RR5 or something like that.
I don't know, but
Rezoned later.
that is well, that's the way I'm thinking about when we're trying to.
Yeah.
Because
That's
that's my own opinions.
usually with annexation policies, annexation statement, we're supposed to have decided what it ought to be planned for. We're supposed to, because when you bring it in, you have to give it a zone. It can't just come in as nothing. So there's probably some sort of
I
statement.
think it talks about light industrial.
Light industrial, okay, so that would match kind of to the north here, this large segment there. And then they've kind of designated these areas slightly differently based on a little closer look at them, right? Whereas out here further west, we've just looked at the potential grid for transportation. And then, so the area that's on tonight's agenda is in this community commercial segment. I guess potentially also related to that, those potential road connections. If that's where the Lakeview Parkway traffic comes through, and that's all headed back and forth, north and south to the airport. There's a lot of traffic there. They might see that intersection as a potential for some slowdown of that traffic and and some commercial activity. So that makes some sense in terms of that land use category. Does that make sense for you all, or is there something else we should be considering there, or any thoughts about it? Not that you have to make a decision tonight or anything. It's just good to understand kind of where we are. Let's see. And then again, low density residential, this segment that's showing as medium density residential has already been rezoned and developed. This area here. What the name of that development? Does anybody know that one? And, okay. That's all there already. And then the skip done portion here, that's again, community commercial. So that's been rezoned to this PD 55. So those are kind of asked and answered already, those segments. That's what I've got for Southwest Orem. Any broad thoughts about, are we headed the right direction here? Should we be looking at other things? Any questions you have about, even any questions you have about tonight's agenda item? If you want to get anything out of the way in here, we can talk about those things in this context as well. So.
I'm curious, if you go further west, how much ground there is that can be developed. I'm guessing that it's pretty swampy and marshy out there, it looks like.
I think this has all been cultivated at some point. It's partially. It's real swampy out here, but this is probably as far as anything really goes. I don't know.
Anywhere beyond the meander line is pretty much undevelopable. It's the wetlands, jurisdictional waters owned by the federal government.
Say that again. To what?
It's wetlands, it's jurisdictional waters of the United States, federal government.
And
Short of the government selling it and the Army Corps of Engineer approving a wetland change, it will never develop beyond the meander line of the
so that's where
agriculture.
So this is the potential lakeshore line, high water years or whatever, all in that jurisdictional wetland. So you're talking about just these areas here.
And yeah, and then the water tables can be high, so you're probably not looking at any basements out here. You're not looking if it goes residential. But I think actually that's one of the big policy discussions you could have is what is the appropriate land use categories? I'm not actually seeing it discussed in the general plan. I know there was a map at one point. I just have to go find it. I'm not sure if that map was even adopted.
That's like the map. Well, that's all there is.
It shows the area. It doesn't show.
And there's a few comments about that area in here, but there's not.
Same with the uses are. There was a map about 2000, but that showed, I think, light industrial out here, but I'm not sure if that was adopted. I have to go look.
In 2000, that's long enough ago. We ought to revisit.
2020. Yeah,
2020. Okay.
But either way, I think this is an area that, that what is the vision for this area? Eventually there will be development pressure. And so when that comes, what direction should it head? Is it going to be light industrial, like some of these map I think I remember, or is it going to be another policy direction that you think is a better choice for the city?
It's definitely something we need to figure out and that annexation policy is part of your general plan. So it's exactly the right moment to be figuring that out. So as this plan goes forward from your body to city council, as some kind of recommendation, it ought to contain some sort of designation for those areas. So there's some guiding principles to what they get zoned when they're brought into the city, if they do get annexed.
One thing we could consider is in other jurisdictions I've worked in, annexed areas are shown on the general plan with their land use category.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why we don't show it. We just show the city boundary, so it's clear where the city ends currently, but it also has clear policy about what the plan is for that area once it is annexed, so that the appropriate zoning designation can be applied.
Two questions. One's a statement. So about the only thing I can see in here that it says about this area is new development should not impede the pre-existing agricultural activities and water drainage used by adjacent agricultural properties. That's about the only real statement for that area that we have. The other question is there a trail through that? Or is there designation for trails
Go back.
to the annexation area? Because I know they're trying to do the complete one around or segments of the lake.
That trail. Look at the top corner of this TV. it comes into the city about that location. Where our water reclamation plant is. There'll be a trail connecting to a multi-use path that connects over to the intermodal hub or the train station, and then that can connect over to UVU. So that'll be the primary connection from sort of East Provo over the freeway to the lake trail. There will be another stub that comes down here. There is going to be another trailhead right about here. The property is already identified. And so the details now is where and how do we get the trail from point A to point B, which is the Delta project. And that has not been determined. We, I think part of this UDOT project here, we got some additional sidewalks put in place, multi-use path, but part of this grid system, all of these have a multi-use trail on one side. And so as this grid system develops, we'll have multiple opportunities to plug that trail through the area down into Provo. And then I'll pick up in Provo at the Delta project.
If you've been down like Lakeview in Provo, that's pretty much what it is. It's developing on one side and then the other side is the wetlands and there's access to all the trails and there's some really, they've done some really interesting, nice new things down there for walking through it.
Anything on the west side of Lakeview Parkway is pretty much determined to be untouchable. And that's the whole corridor down to the I-15.
Provo said they've spent $480 million on that whole road segment, including the drainage and all the amenities. And so it's been a big investment.
480.
Yeah, that's what they told me directly. So I didn't ask how or where.
Well, the initial infusion of cash for that project came out of the recession in 2010 with stimulus construction money. So that's how, before that, that project was a pipe dream. It was never going to happen. And then when the recession came and federal money came for construction projects, that's when the city took advantage of building that road.
Sense.
It's the initial phase.
Sense.
Okay.
They want to feed their airport growth. Does anybody know if Provo started to work on their new international terminal yet?
They're working on it.
Are they?
The potential for Provo to grow is huge, right? And then this is just putting out argument for sake of argument, not saying one way or the other. So as we come up Lakeview, especially as we connect through here, do we want to set aside land? Are we interested in developing land? Could in theory be supportive to that? What is our interest in this land? Is there enough to even really develop? This is it. This is our open land in Orem. You're staring at it. So what?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think we talked about the potential for certain corridors at different points in Orem that would support different functions or, different interests. Perhaps along Lakeview Parkway there could be a corridor, small corridor or whatever that could support development along there that would be in our Orem's interest.
The next question would be, what type of industry would we want in there? What level of development?
Put in there if you do it.
Yeah.
Well, there are probably industries that you could identify that are more interested in being near airports, near hubs like that.
One thing that jumps out in my mind is we've talked about in this body, potentially, do we think it would be a good idea for Orem to have a convention center? Seems to me like if we did decide that was a good thing, proximity to an airport would be a good idea.
Some of the places we've discussed would have direct connection from there.
Yep.
Far enough.
And you'd access to some hotels along University Parkway, that would be one potential, a place that would be possible to do it.
Yeah, that's a good thought. A lot of I'm not an economic development person, but a lot of your pressure might be, there's always residential pressure. That's a given. There will be residential pressure, but some of your other pressure near a hub like an airport will be for shipping, for warehousing, et cetera. There'll be lots of industry interest in just larger scale warehousing. Usually.
And that's lower impact to neighbors, right?
It is, yep. So that's something to consider. You're gonna get pressure that way, and
We
It
know
was
what.
beautiful.
I don't, right off the top of my head, no, but it would be good. It would be a good thing to look into now and to think about.
Wasn't a hotel in that vicinity at all. I wonder. It was
Well, I
kind of
wondered
about,
about hotel too, along that corridor, or at least you can even say further up here.
yeah,
Like, it doesn't have to be all the way down into here, but
Or would basically set aside a half mile
For the
east of the east and north of the airport for airport related uses. That's their general plan.
We'll pull some stuff from their general plan and send to you all as well, or bring back to talk about next time as well. Continue this, talk about Provost plans in that area. County won't have any. Unincorporated county will probably look just like it looks for us. Except it won't have our grid on it because they won't have cared about that. And the county's plan will be waiting for us to annex. But yeah, let's look at Provost and talk about what they're doing and see if that meshes with kind of your ideas about things, and keep thinking about that as we move.
we have occasion to visit with Provo about what they're looking to do. I mean, who's the point of contact to do that? Is it something that you do, Jared? Or
Do that, yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just curious if it naturally
Oh,
happens.
yeah, no, we've done that. We met with vineyards planners, for example, last year. Sat down with vineyards planners for a while to talk about what they're doing, and
Yeah.
do the same thing with Provo. As we're going forward, we probably should.
Standpoint. See Provo a lot. We have a joint project with, I've got a grant for crosswalks on the border south of 2000. There's no east-west crosswalks, road tracks, and they have, I forget the name of, what's that continuation high school they have down there? Independence.
Yeah, just on the east side of the,
Yeah, there's a road that
Excellent.
points up towards Independence that they want to potentially go through. So on a road standpoint, we're pretty much interacting. Carterville Road crosses over and some trail and stuff. Because there is dialogue.
with that new development, that housing development at 2000 South, the same outfit's developing both sides. And are you concerned about the east-west traffic on that road?
We've gone through that whole process,
Yeah,
looked at their traffic. It's a 3-lane road. It's a minor arterial classification. So we have a median that they have to put in to block one of the accesses. We applied access management standards. We just didn't let them put driveways in wherever. We let them put one and then the right. And Provo does on the road. So it's kind of this unique thing where the land is in our city, but they own. So we've had to coordinate with that quite a lot, line up roadways. But that whole traffic study and all that approval
well,
process.
with the front runner and with the Union Pacific railroad tracks along there, to me, that's got to be a pretty challenging situation.
Yeah, the UTA is more forgiving, so we're putting in sidewalk up to UP. P is another whole beast, like they don't like you do that, so we're doing what we can to connect these with Provo on that, so. Yeah, the next step would to see what UP would allow to keep going.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of this pretty soon. Actually, the Whitestone that was rezoned subdivision is in review right now. With all of us planning and engineering and folks, it'll probably be before the planning commission. Well, they'd like to have been before the planning commission already, but they are not ready. So pretty soon, they're getting close. Maybe in December, it'll be on your agendas. So you'll get to see all of that stuff then too. Great. Any other questions about any of the stuff in Southwest Orem?
Just the question about light industrial and that it was rezoned to M1, so there's manufacturing, but nothing's been built there.
Nothing's been built, but I understand there was a project approved. Those approvals have probably lapsed if it's more than a year old. They're not lapsed. There's
Still, so. And they renewed, my understanding is their site plan is pretty much dependent on Lakeview being built.
oh, I know this one.
Sitting in this weird
Limbo.
yeah, because their drainage plan goes out into the curb and gutter that would be going into a road that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Generally, what are they planning to do with that land?
It's a warehouse.
Like warehouse space.
facility. So it's warehousing space. I-
Warehousing space is fine.
yeah.
That's enough.
multiple buildings in a warehouse, kind of industrial park, warehouse park. The Becca mentioned the drainage, so that's an issue out here as well. Like, we don't have a good handle on everything that's needed for infrastructure in Southwest Orem. Because we have these general plans in place, but much of the infrastructure is not there, and a lot of it depends on things like the Lakeview Parkway going through, and that's not finished yet, and so we have all these projects in limbo. So we're actively had a couple of meetings already. We have other projects that are having issues because of infrastructure that doesn't exist yet, and what we're gonna put in and what developers need to contribute versus what the city needs to do for other projects is a kind of a big discussion. So we're actively having those lately too. As those continue to ramp up, want the input from it's the right moment for the commission and the council to be looking at this area with this general plan, so we know what we should be anticipating for capital improvements in that area. For the improvements to the sewer and water and storm drainage and everything the transportation that's already been done, or at least anticipated.
So I have a question and I don't know if it's completely related to what we're talking about, but northwest of the temple on the west side of Geneva Road, there's a fairly large building that's under construction right now, runs north-south.
Northwest of the temple?
Yeah, on the west side of Geneva. So if you move right up in that general area, a little further, right about up in there, there's a really large building that runs north-south.
So
Looks to me as potential, it doesn't look like a barn to me because they seem to be insulating it, like maybe it's for
Is the right
everything
area?
else.
is this the right area you're talking
Yep.
about? Just west of Geneva?
Yep.
So
What it is.
That's.
I'm not gonna speak with complete certainty, but that property was subject to their house being taken for this Geneva Road widening. And part of the deal was they would get, compensation for what was taken, and I think they're building the.
Rebuilding the house, that would make sense.
Yeah, it's at Johnson's.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Perfect. Okay. Any other questions or we good to adjourn to until our regular meeting?
good.
Okay.
I'll talk all night with you.
Then, yeah, well, oh, you have one more thing?
Answer your question
Oh,
earlier,
yeah, go ahead.
that rezone wet industrial passed in 2020.
2020, okay.
One right here.
Okay. Thank you. Then we'll adjourn our work session at 5:17.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, I can test my mic. How's that? Are you hearing? Okay. Can we as commissioners hear the mic? Can we? Okay.
Can have them on it.
Wow, yes, there's 4 of us. As long as Jared doesn't speak, we're good. Done. So then are we ready to go? Okay. Then I will go ahead and call this Orem Planning City Commission meeting to order at 5:30 on November 5th, 2025 in the Orem City Council Chambers. And we will begin with an invocation by Commissioner Hawks.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful this evening that we can meet in such favorable circumstances. We're grateful to live in this great land and in this wonderful community. We ask you to bless us this evening as we discuss matters pertaining to our community affairs, that we'll be wise in our deliberations, that we will be considerate of one another, that we'll be open-minded, and that the decisions that are made will be good decisions that will be for the best good of our citizens. We pray that will bless those who lead and guide the affairs of this city and indeed this nation. Bless us that we will be people of integrity, that we will be thoughtful and mindful of others. We again are grateful for our blessings. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin with item 3, which is our consent agenda items, which include item 3.1, Plat Amendment, Mountain Grove Plat D, located generally at 1365 North, 330 East. Item 3.2, Plat Amendment, Deerfield Park Plat G, located generally at 1021 West, 400 South. Item 3.3, Plat Amendment, Taylor Park Plat B, located generally at 105 West Hidden Hollow Drive. And item 3.4, which is approval of meeting minutes from our October 15th Planning Commission meeting. Is there any comments, anything, or are we? Jim, okay.
I make a motion to approve the city planning, the consent agenda items, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Jim moved and Haysom seconded that we approve our consent agenda items. Haysom?
Aye.
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 Okay, our consent agenda items are approved. We'll move on to item 4.1, which is a public hearing regarding zoning ordinance map amendment, a request to rezone the property located generally at 1738 South Geneva Road from OS 5 to C2 by amending Article 22-5-3A and the zoning map of the city of Orem. And we'll begin with staff report.
Thank you. Just really quickly to go through a few items related to this zone map amendment request. This is the portion of property you can see here. We're using 1738 South as the address here. There are new rights of way that kind of bound it, so it's harder to see on our maps. These have been dedicated over, but this is the portion of the property, the 4.43 acres, that the request involves rezoning from OS 5, as you said, to C2 commercial. Right now, you can see this triangular area there. That's bounded by those new roads that are going to be going in eventually. You can see the building there to kind of orient yourself. It's all right now in the OS 5 zone. Most of the other properties around it, bordering it, are also in the OS 5 open space zone. OS 5 allows, just for comparison of the things that are allowed currently versus what would be allowed under C2, the OS 5 zone allows single family residential uses, 5 acres or more. It does allow those kind of allied residential uses, quasi-public uses like churches, schools, libraries, and then some agricultural uses that are limited to that OS 5 zoning as well. The C2 zone is a very broad commercial zone. It allows a variety of things, all the way from vehicle rentals and sales down to shopping centers, restaurants, that kind of thing. So that's the request. The applicants in this case, this property is commonly known as the Johnson Farms. The applicants in this case would like to rezone to that C2 classification. The general plan, this again is the larger property. You can see the building there that's kind of the center of that triangular area that's up for rezoning tonight. The general plan's land use map calls it out as community commercial. And that's one of the preferred zones that go with community commercial are C1, C2, business park, and then different planned development zones that might be commercial in nature. So the applicants have asked for the C2 zone, which again is on that list of the preferred zones for the designation that has been given right now in the land use map for the general plan. The applicants have provided a concept plan as our applications require. Just to be clear, though, we're not approving or denying or considering a concept plan tonight. It's just for illustrative purposes. They would like to develop the property with what they're calling flex retail. These are all different buildings. They would total about 32,000 square feet of floor space altogether. Multiple buildings, multiple units. Parking lots are all interior and access from Geneva Road. Again, you can see kind of the bounding areas that are slated to be roads in the future out here. And then the buildings, these are all, obviously there's more than these two buildings, but that's what they would look like in this concept plan. Any questions for staff at this point? As a reminder, it's a public hearing. The Planning Commission is a recommending body on this kind of item. You would vote on a recommendation, either positive or negative, to the City Council.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay. Would the applicant like to come forward?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Paul Washburn. I'm representing the applicants this evening. I've been working with the Johnson family on this property for a number of months. The Lakeview Parkway is taking a significant portion of their property and leaving a triangular piece just slightly over 4 acres. For those of you that maybe have driven down and seen the site, you'll see where UDOT has started digging out peat on the site and preparing for the roadway. It stops short of the barn. The barn will have to come down. It's also interfering with the roadway. The 4 acres that's remaining after the adjustments for irrigation and all the other things, really very difficult to make that feasible to farm alfalfa in the future. Johnson family has put the property for sale, and group has come and has optioned the property at this point, subject to getting zoning and a site plan approval. I'm working with both groups at this point. We've looked at this property really hard. There is no access from either the Lakeview Parkway or from this road that goes across the bottom you can see on your screen. So the only access is going to be from Geneva Road. And those of you who have had a chance to look at that overall plan, the access to Geneva Road is pretty awkward. What we've done is we've done some evaluation, and we think the flex retail space will work well in this site. It's going to be destination-oriented businesses. Those that are along the perimeter of the two larger roadways will probably businesses that are currently working out of maybe people's homes. Got a plumber that's very interested in a place, but he wants a secure place he can lock his trucks at night. Same thing with a pest control business that's doing the same kind of thing. This site is not going to be it's never going to hold a Walmart. This isn't something that's going to drive traffic because of the access to the site. And we as a group have determined that if this were to go forward, that we would like to limit any automotive uses from the site as well. We don't want to have that in there. We haven't put the property up to be marketed, but we've had people that have approached us, and they have included an attorney that would like to have a place to store records. We've got another group that wants to put in a fairly large hair salon, nails, whatever. As a resident of Orem, I really like that idea. For years, we've been poaching sales tax from Provo City, and I'd like to see that continue. And there's a large population of Provo City there that I think would be attracted to this site. What we're going to do is, design-wise, we'd like to maintain the look of a farm. The buildings that we have proposed try to imitate that structure. The furthest west buildings, which would be on this end, would be two-story structures. That group in the middle would be two-story. The one in the front and then the ones that connect the old Geneva Road with the new Parkway would all be single-story. And we're not going to build a second story in the building. There'll be large, there'll be high ceilings that would it work for a lot of different companies. But anyway, that's what we'd like to move forward and do. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
I have a question that's mostly curiosity because of our discussion about it. Is UDOT preventing you from having access to Lakeview Parkway, or was that a choice?
No, that UDOT is absolutely prohibited.
Yeah, because it's
No.
not that long of a,
No, we would love to have access. I mean, that would probably triple the value of the
Yeah.
property, but no, we don't get any access at all.
I understand why that's a curiosity question. as to what- Yeah,
One of the other things, I know at the neighborhood meeting, one of the neighbors suggested that we should wait until the parkway was in before we develop the property. We're anxious to do it, at least get the underground work done in conjunction with them finishing that. We don't want to have to bore under it. We don't want to have to tear up the road to hook up to sewer and storm drain. So it's important for us to get in front of the project if we can.
thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Jim?
I don't have any questions.
No, you covered all my questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That-
Okay,
Yeah,
Thank
those
you.
were a lot of the questions that we
Yeah.
were discussing,
you.
so.
okay.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, then we will open, this is a public hearing, so we will open for the public to come forward. If you'd like to come and speak on this item, and come forward to the mic and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Oh, and please state your name first. So we will open that for public comment.
My name is John Q. Public. I live one block south of this. We have enough. We don't want to live in the middle of a big city. And I know that my voice isn't the only one of my neighbors who have the same kind of opinion. We love these people. They're our neighbors, our friends. We go to the temple with them, but we don't need more businesses in that area. There, as you know, Skip Dunn wants to build a business across the fence of us to the south. There's a business, there's a gas station one block south of us, and a whole bunch of stuff north of us. We just don't need some more traffic. We don't need some more business with whatever it brings. We all know that crime follows business, and we live in a wonderful, secluded neighborhood at this point in time, and we would love for that to continue. There's a hymn that says, "Do what is right." I know that when the Wilkerson Farm deal was up, why your commission voted almost, I guess, unanimously to oppose the zoning change, but you don't have the authority to make the decisions, unfortunately. And when I went to around to gathering signatures to put that issue on the ballot, the Wilkerson Farm issue on the ballot, every single person in my neighborhood signed the petition to put it on the ballot so we could have a little bit of open space. The OSS is appropriate, and please leave it that way. Do what is right. I don't know that the city council, especially as newly constituted, is going to listen to you, but your job is to do what is right. And please think of us. One of the biggest concerns that I have in this city is that too many of our leaders in the past have considered everybody except the people who live here. But we live here. I live here. Alex lives here. He's our grandson that we're raising. and my wife and our neighbors, we all live there. We would love it to be as unpopulated as possible. So thank you for your consideration and your time.
Thank you. Did anyone else like to come forward?
My name is Cheryl Johnson. I own a percentage of this property. Just to give a little bigger picture, what really happened. This property's been in my husband's family for many, many years. His oldest sibling's 87 years old. He's done farming. The youngest sibling is 75 years old. My husband has passed away. That leaves a sister who's 83, another brother that's 80. And so farming isn't going to happen on this piece of property. It's not going to happen. You can't sell it for farming. What are we going to, what is the right thing to do with it? Can't farm it. I mean, you can, but you can't make any money doing that because, well, that's common sense. Why? Do you want industrial on it? Do you want homes on it? Do you want high density on it? What do you want? What do you do with it? Or do we just sit on it and let it grow to weeds? Because frankly, I'm the only one doing anything with it. So we've thought about it, and this looks like we feel like maybe this is something that would be acceptable use. I don't know anybody that's going to want to live on it with 3 major roads. So our hands are kind of tied to be able to satisfy the neighborhood and to be able to liquidate the land. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll make one last call.
Matt, is
Yeah.
this working? I've never used one of the mobile ones. Just as a question, we did receive a comment online about a week ago
Okay.
from an individual who said she wouldn't be able to attend and she wanted to have her record need be known. Are you comfortable with me reading that? Okay.
Please read that in.
So this comes from Britta Peterson. She said, I was not able to attend the meeting and will not be able to attend the meeting about the Johnson rezoning on Geneva Road, but I would not want that area to be commercial land. There are people who live here and we should keep Geneva rural or at least to a few houses. I am tired of all the high-density housing and commercial buildings in every spare land of Orem. Please do not put commercial buildings here. I would love to know how to get my voice heard even if I can't attend the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no more further public comment, we will close the public hearing. And I don't think there's nothing. Do you want to respond to anything as the applicant? You're welcome to.
And Jared, could you go back to the OS5 uses? Yeah, right. Yeah, it was one more. Yep.
In trying to decide what to do with the property, we tried to pick the least impact use we could
Mike,
find.
so-
It is just, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid of the feedback again. In trying to find a use for the property, we chose C2 because we felt like it was probably the least intrusive and most compatible. The property's a triangle, and triangles are hard to develop. It doesn't matter if you're farming, doing a commercial development, or doing housing. Property's now less than 5 acres. I don't know if we could build a house on it or not. Building a subdivision wouldn't work well. I don't know what better uses are. What we've done is we've tried to pick as low impact as we could, something we felt like we could fit in. We've tried to design the project to fit in as best we can. It's unfortunate, but Utah is 20 miles wide and 100 miles long. It stops in Nephi and it goes the other end to Brigham City. You can't develop elsewhere in Utah because there's no water. All the water has been given to the Wasatch Front. As much as I would like to think Orem could stay the same as when I grew up here and it was all orchards, it's not going to be that way. And we're just trying to find the best use we can. A lot of temptation to turn this into industrial. We didn't feel like that was appropriate. So anyway, we feel like this is our best shot. We'll do a good job with it and make it something that'll have as low impact on neighbors as we can and be a credit to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any further comments or questions from the commissioner? You asked for the slide diffuse switch.
Yeah, I
back.
see.
Did you get your
Yeah, thank you.
question answered? Okay. Jim, are you pondering?
Well, I'm sympathetic to both parties. It's a tough one in my mind. I know that it can be farmed. I mean, it's 4 acres to get your equipment on and off that just isn't a feasible thing to do. And John Q. Public, I know very well. And yeah, and he's just a wonderfully fine fellow. And you know, you don't want to have this just be vacant land, I wouldn't think. It needs to be put to some sort of use. Would you agree with that, John Q. Public? Put you on the spot. But it seems to me that the Johnsons are trying to be sensitive to the feelings of the neighbors and are trying to craft something that would be palatable to both parties, both sides. And I don't know what other things could be done on this property that would be more palatable than what they've presented here. Really, I don't know, is it Mr. Washburn, I believe? Is that what other things were you considering as possibilities here? If I could, I guess I can ask him that question.
You can ask him questions. Yep.
If you're looking for feasibility, I'm not suggesting that we would do this, but feasibility next to 2 major corridors, apartments. That makes a lot of sense. Close to UVU, it does make sense. It's clearly not what the neighborhood wants. I honestly don't know. I've been associated with this property for a number of months now. I helped the Johnsons when they were working with UDOT, with Orem City, trying to get the right-of-ways through there. And I've given a lot of thought to this property. I honestly don't know what else would be there that would be really feasible. Feasible projects are important because they maintain themselves. They take care of themselves. They improve as time goes on. Leaving the ground vacant or looking for some use that just ultimately is not going to work, that's going to impact the neighborhood a lot more than anything we can do. The worst thing that could happen with this property is let it sit there for another 2 or 3 years, and Johnsons end up selling it in desperation. You end up with a car lot there or something like that. It's going to have a much greater impact. So I guess to answer your question is I wish I had a better answer. This is best I could come up with the year that I've been working on the property.
Okay.
But I think it's a good use too. I think it's going to work out well.
So the access to this property will be from the south
Geneva.
side of it?
Geneva Road only, the east side.
East side, but
Yeah.
but Geneva
No
Road is-
access from either of the new roads.
So,
which again limits the commercial possibilities of it. It would be fine if it was turned into a subdivision, but I don't think with
Well,
current
with four-
politics, that's going to happen.
yeah, 4.5 acres isn't gonna buy you much of a subdivision, really.
No.
I don't think.
Not a triangle.
Well, triangles are tough. I
They're
mean,
tough.
there's
You're
no
right.
question about it.
Okay, thank you.
You good?
Clarify.
Well,
Based on a previous slide, it occurred to me
Oh, it's, yeah, sorry.
request is that
We need you to be in the record. So if it's a public comment, we can open the public hearing so you can come back up to the mic and speak. That was my quick.
My name's Byron Taylor. Based on a previous slide, I got the impression that aside from this potentially being developed, the request of this applicant at this time is to change the zoning for a much larger area than just that.
No, the one, yeah, and that's a very fair question. So the one is what is our general plan? What when in 2018, when they set that map, what they thought that area would develop into? That's the big one, the big solid red. In this case, the land around it would only be, so that's our general plan. And then we're only changing the designation of that little triangle.
Okay,
That's what
thanks.
we're discussing tonight.
Thank you.
It would apply to this. So, yeah. Okay. I guess I'll technically close the public hearing then. So,
can I make one? Come up to your mic there, Dennis.
we've talked
I'm not
about
the
this.
boss. Okay,
You're not the boss.
I'm not.
Are we okay with him I'm asking the commission real quick. Everyone okay with him coming back up? Sure.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess we'll reopen the public hearing again.
That was a very good point that was just brought up. And there's all this land around it that could be built into high-rise apartments. And when you start, you can't get things stopped. And this is the start. Please think about the people who live there. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll close the public hearing again. Stop asking people to come up without permission. Okay. So, okay, any other questions?
No questions.
Okay, Rod?
No, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay,
Ready to make a motion.
well, then we get to discuss it.
Elaborate a little.
We can deliberate after he makes the motion.
Or whatever, yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Make a motion and then we'll discuss it. We can, good.
I move that the Orem City Planning Commission forward a recommendation to approve the request to amend Article 22.5.3 subparagraph A and the zoning map of the city of Orem by rezone 4.343 acres located generally at 1738 South Geneva Road from OS5 to C2 to the city council.
Okay, do I have a second?
Yeah, I second.
You second? Okay. Okay, Rod moved and Hasten seconded that we forward an approval or positive recommend, we've said it both ways, an approval to the city council. So you made the motion, you get to speak first.
Yeah, I understand that this is an emotional topic that, you know, people who've lived there for a long time are used to a certain way of living. I reflect on what Mr. Washburn, there you are, said. I grew up in Orem with lots of orchards as well. The fact is things are changing and the county and city are going to develop that area. You could make an argument that this will alleviate traffic because people can get some of the retail needs taken care of rather than traveling to other parts of Orem. It gives us the opportunity to capture some sales revenue from Provo, you know, helping our city budget. And it also puts potential retail space near customers who would desire and need it. So to me, it makes sense to take a piece of land that really is not going to have many other uses. Apartments would just really ruin that area. And I just think it's a great idea. It's well thought through, and I think they're trying to do what's right, even though it's a painful thing. So that's why I think it should be a positive recommendation to the city council.
Thank you, Rod. Hazen?
Just like Rod mentioned, there's a pretty good possibility if this doesn't go to C2, it will go to apartments. Very high likely. Yeah. You can't hear me? Sorry. Okay. There's a great possibility that if it doesn't go to C2, it'll go to apartments. And we definitely, the owner of the land have the rights to need to develop it and not sit on it empty. And as far as traffic goes, I wonder how much the temple increased traffic to the area anyway. So there is lots of traffic. So sales tax as a city that working on promoting more businesses and more sales tax revenue in addition to the minimal property tax revenue that will come to us from it, it makes total sense. And it is painful, but something that has to be done.
Thank you. Jim, your turn. If you want to.
I do want to say a few things. So I know John Q. Public very well. I think the world of him. You won't find a finer fellow. But the concern that I think he's expressed is really broader than just this piece of property. I think he's seen, as he said in his comments to us, where voices have been expressed, comments have been made, all for naught. And it's just like the whole world has changed this area where he's chosen to live. He's not from here originally, but he's chosen to live there because it's a quiet, nice place to live. And he's seen that erode all around him. So despite that, I think it probably is as good a use as you can find for that property. I guess the master plan had it zoned for community commercial at some point. So it was on the master plan that something would be done with this property. And I don't think it is wise that it just is kept there vacant. I can't see that it could be developed into a neighborhood. It's just not large enough. And now if we approve this, which we've done, even if I voted in opposition, because I guess I'm not sure how you're voting, Madeline, but it still has to come before the Planning Commission for specifics as to what's to be done here. But I hate to vote against your desires, Dennis, but I just don't think denying this makes sense in my mind. Will you forgive me for that? I feel that's right.
Yeah, just to repeat what he said, that is we do what we feel is right.
Yeah, that's what we try to do in the first place, by the way. Yeah.
Always. Good. Comes to me. This one's really hard because I agree. This is what, the 5th or 6th since I've been on the planning commission in this area that we've looked at and we've discussed and debated. And it is a hard balance between things that were designated, these roads coming in, and the land that's left, and trying to protect what else is also over there. The people, more than the land, is important, but the land, our purpose here is to help determine what we do with the land. And this is a really awkward little bit of land. You kind of wonder why they did that, but I'm sure it's better than putting Geneva straight down in front of all the homes that are at the top part of that segment too. And traffic's coming, development's coming. And I think as far as a plan for the area, one of my concerns was like, why develop it now before these go in? Makes a lot of sense that let's get the infrastructure and get those things done. And for use, it seems low impact. My only question, this might actually be more for Jared. He said that he brought up that no automotive uses on this land, but if we give you a C2 designation, that includes that. So that's my only like.
We would be happy to enter into a development agreement with the city council on that. We don't want automotive uses. It would work for one space, but it'd foul up everything else. It just doesn't make sense.
And I agree with that. I think that is what my biggest C2 concern was leaving it open for some of those that I think doesn't go with there.
I've got to live with it, and I'm a citizen too. I'm not going to screw it up.
So, yeah, so I mean, development agreement would be fine if that's what you guys chose, but, so I think as hard as it is to be like, yay, let's develop, but there's already, to the south, there's, M1 designation, there's already going to be more warehousing going in. And this connects to the airport. We were talking about this a little bit in our pre-meeting, that as this connects with the airport, as it connects things back up, it's going to be an area, and let's get the right kind of development in that doesn't impact the neighborhoods that are already there. So you get to say one more thing if you want to, but you don't have to.
No, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. All right. Then we will move to vote. Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Okay. Item 4.1,
Thank you very much.
we will forward a positive recommendation, I mean, an approval.
Love you, Dan. You too.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4.2, which is also a public hearing for a text amendment. It's a request to add SLU code 7425 gymnasium and athletic clubs to the list of approved uses in the PD 36 zone, located generally at 1440 North, 1380 West, by amending Article 22-11-49C. Jared.
Thank you. So this is, as opposed to a zone map amendment, this is a zoning ordinance amendment request. We call it Paddle Den text amendment because that is the name of the company that wants this addition, this text amendment change. The applicants are here tonight. They can answer some of your other questions about the application or the sport itself. What they would like to do is open a business that offers a place to participate in this sport called paddle. And that is something I'll let them explain to you. Instead, it's kind of a combination of racquetball and squash and pickleball and tennis and a bunch of sports I'm not good at, all rolled into one thing for me to underperform at in one place. So it's kind of nice that way. Gymnasiums and athletic clubs are not included in the PD 36 zones list of allowable uses right now. And that would be the use category that would fit for something like a tennis court or a basketball court or that kind of thing that paddle would fit into as well. So we've listed here in this slide the different purpose of the PD 36 zone is listed to allow development of light industrial business or technology park that can accommodate a variety of commercial and light industrial uses in an environment reflecting a high level of concern for architectural, landscaping, and urban design principles. There's some development in this area already. They would like to take one of the buildings and open this paddle business. If the PD 36 zone is amended to include that land use classification, they could do that. The general plan calls this area out as regional commercial. Sorry, and so it's not out of sync with the request for that land use code is not out of sync with the regional commercial category, which states that it's to provide locations for commercial and service uses to serve needs of people living in an entire region. And by definition, a sport like that would draw people from other places if we're the first to offer that kind of a facility. So with that in mind, this is a complete list of the current uses that are allowed. And then again, the use that's not allowed is that land use code 74. I'm going to get it wrong, but you know the one it's listed there, 7426. That is the sum total of the amendment they're requesting, that we simply allow the addition of that land use code to this long list of other uses that are allowed. The most recent application to change things that was permitted was land use code 7322. That's indoor go-karts, and there's an active facility for that in this area too. So it kind of fits in with the general things going on in the area. Any questions for staff at this point?
Nope. Would the applicant like to come forward and present?
Thank you guys for taking the time to hear out our text amendment. My name is Parker. This is my brother Kyle. We are the two that are proposing the text amendment to allow for our paddle den. Kyle and I have been very lucky to travel a bit, and we noticed that as we were traveling some of these other countries that much like pickleball is here, there was the sport of paddle everywhere else, all over Europe, South America. And Kyle and I are both two individuals who are very passionate about just our hobbies. I've worked at a ski resort for 6 years, and as well as Kyle's worked at a golf course. We really love the idea of bringing a business and working together to bring this paddle facility to this location. Reason we think that this location is perfect for our business is for the sport of paddle, you need higher ceilings as well as a very open floor plan. And this facility is perfect for that. If we went to the map and you looked at all the buildings in that area, we would take up just that little corner lot, which is the 23,000 square foot lot. We would not be taking any building that has loading bays that could affect a industrial company from being able to come in. We think it's perfectly located off the freeway, whereas people are coming home from work or wherever they may be, that they can come to the facility and use it as another place to gather and enjoy time with one another, as well as being active and being healthy. So we are just proposing that we have that text amendment to allow for our business. Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant?
Could you describe this game called paddle, and are you good at paddle?
Well, I like to think I'm good at paddle. I'm better than this guy over here. But
He's your older brother, isn't he?
Younger brother. So I have to be better than him. So what paddle is, I apologize for not explaining it before. Paddle is a mix of tennis and racquetball or squash. You are playing on a slightly smaller tennis court, about the third the size of a tennis court, kind of much similar to a pickleball court, as well as you are surrounded by walls that you can play off of. It's a very active sport. It's a very tiring sport, and it's one that we love. So.
Does anyone around here play paddle?
So actually, the reason we are excited to open this up is this would be the second facility in Utah. A facility opened up in North Salt Lake in about the Bountiful area a couple months ago, and they have seemed to be doing quite well. It's a sport that hasn't quite come here to the United States, which is why Kyle and I are very excited to hop on the opportunity to open it up here. We see how good pickleball does here and how active people are with the mountains and skiing and mountain biking. And it's just another thing to give people to do, both with the two colleges close, with their roommates and friends, as well as the families that live in this area too. It's something that can be played with any and all ages.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Actually, I guess I just wonder about parking.
It's a good question. We haven't evaluated the business proposal yet, but that would all be part of the planning and zoning department now, or division. We review all the business licenses as well. And when they come in for that, we would evaluate their parking needs against all of the other businesses that are using that same parking as well, because it's a shared parking facility.
Got it.
So we'd look at it in that way. And so you can only limit their occupancy, number of courts, et cetera, based on what's available. But we haven't done any of that yet, not for the text amendment.
Okay.
It's pretty well parked down there.
Okay, Rebecca.
Yeah, I was going to say Jared pretty much answered it, but if it were to go in this location, it would be, like he said, an occupancy based parking situation. Currently with tennis courts, if you know that you're going to be having like a tennis court or a very similar athletic type of thing going on, it's usually 1.5 parking spots per every anticipated visitor. So it's kind of a weird thing, but you'd have to know how many courts they're wanting to put in, and then how many people they anticipate. A standard tennis court can have up to 4 people on it usually. So you'd kind of work backwards. I imagine paddle is very similar as far as the amount of users on the court. So you'd be looking at a similar ratio.
That is, if you would like to for an answer.
Yeah, so where it comes to parking, we are that standalone building, and with the current plans that we have, obviously we're still working with seeing what we can fit in there. But with the current space, we believe that we can fit 5 courts in there, And it's a paddle, which I forgot to mention is actually the fastest growing sport in the world, which is really exciting, is played in doubles. So you'd only have 4 people on the court at a time, as well as potentially a person to swap out, if you come in a group of 6 or something like that. But we anticipate 5, potentially 6 courts, and only 4 could play on those courts at a time. So.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that the Orem City Planning Commission forward a recommendation to approve the request to add SLU code 7425 gymnasium and athletic clubs to the list of approved uses in the PD 36 zone located generally at 1440 North, 1380 West by amending Article 22-11-49C.
I second that motion.
Okay, Hasem moved and Jim second. We forward an approval of this code addition to the PD zone. You can say anything. I don't think there's anything we're saying. I mean, that came out wrong. That came out so wrong. It needs to be said,
Nothing to add.
nothing.
I have nothing to add. Oh,
Okay. So I'm fine with it. So we're good. Then, Hasem, would you like to start the voting?
aye.
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 And that motion passes, and I think it'll be a great addition to Orem. Yeah, probably will. That one sounds fun.
I'll watch.
Okay. Sorry, that really came out wrong, and I didn't mean it to come out like that. I apologize. So our final item of the evening, no, apparently I'm done speaking, is item 4.3, preliminary plat, Mag subdivision, Plat A, located generally at 537 North, 500 West in the R7.5 zone.
Thank you. This is, as you said, a preliminary subdivision plan approval. The Planning Commission is the body that approves those or denies those or asks for more information. Mag subdivision is a previously it has not been part of any subdivision plat before. So this is what we call a lot of record. It's a parcel of land. There is an existing home on this parcel. It's large enough to split, and the applicants are asking basically to subdivide this into 2 parts. 662 East 1700 South is basically the location. It's in the R75 zone, as is everything in the area around it. And just a real quick picture of part of the plat that's been proposed. Lot 1 is the existing home, remains 0.27 acres. Lot 2 would be a buildable lot for another single family home, 0.29 acres. Both are still considerably larger than the 7,500 square feet that's required by the zoning. Both meet the frontage requirements and can easily accommodate the setbacks required for a home to be on either of those. They're not proposing to take down the home on lot 1 or anything. They'd leave that in place and simply have a new building lot available. So no changes to existing infrastructure either. All along 500 West Street, the curb and gutter and sidewalks all in place, as you can see from the first picture there. So no changes to that. It's just simply the addition of a new lot that could be built upon. Any questions for staff?
Nope. Okay.
Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. Does the applicant want to say anything or good?
No.
Okay, we're good.
He's confident.
Yeah. He should be. This one's very straightforward. So, okay. There's anyone any questions? Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Orem City Planning Commission approve the request for preliminary approval for the MAG subdivision located generally at 537 North, 500 West in the R7.5 residential zone, approximately 0.56 acres.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, Jim moved, Rod seconded that we approve the preliminary plat amendment for the subdivision. Jim? Vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. And then, you good? Okay. Then if there's no other business, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. There's a motion to adjourn. I am apparently very tired tonight. Asa moved and Rod seconded the motion to adjourn. Jim? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, our meeting's adjourned at 6:20 PM.